Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. It is time for another Spooktober true crime video yet again, and today we will be talking about a rather recent case that really shows how a simple event could derail someone's life. Today we will be talking about the case of Tokyo's Joker, Kyota Hattori. Halloween is that time of the year where people of all ages can get dressed up in any way they like without anyone batting an eye. It is a time when children would go knocking from one house to another and be given candy. In general, Halloween is a pretty festive season. However, there's also always this eerie feeling surrounding it. Maybe because aside from the creepy costumes and makeup, there are also real creeps who use this holiday as an excuse to carry out some of the most unthinkable crimes. And that is exactly what happened in Tokyo on October 31st, 2021. That night, the streets of Tokyo were packed with people, with some in costume and some just wanting to see what others dressed up as. But one thing's for sure, there was going to be a lot of fun and drinking with friends and family. But sadly, this wouldn't be the case for everyone. At least not for the people at the Keio Railway on board the train on its way to Shinjuku. At around 8 p.m., a young man dressed as the Joker got on the train and sat down quietly. Now, there was nothing sinister about this as it was Halloween and a lot of people were in their costumes. However, what he did next caught the other passengers by surprise. The Joker suddenly gets up and pulls a pesticide can out from one of his pockets. He then sprays the older man beside him on the face with it. And as this man winced in pain, the Joker yet again takes another object out from his pocket. And this time, it was a knife. And without hesitation, he plunged this into the chest of that man. The other passengers initially thought that this was nothing but a Halloween stunt, but quickly realizing that it wasn't, they all panicked and ran to other carriages. The Joker then calmly left his victim on the floor, bleeding, and moved on to the next carriage, where he yet again pulled another item out of his pocket. This was a bottle that contained a clear liquid, which he then poured all over, instantly making the carriage reek of lighter fluid. He then took out a match and dropped it to the ground, igniting a fire. And this, of course, caused chaos amongst the passengers, and the Joker just stood there, his face blank. Luckily, the train operator noticed the smoke right away and quickly made an emergency stop. While the panicked passengers were busy making their way out of the train, the Joker calmly sat down in one of the carriages, lit a cigarette, and waited for the police to apprehend him. What's so eerie about all of this was how emotionless and nonchalant he was about everything. He showed no emotion, no remorse, and he obviously wanted to get caught. But why? Now, upon being taken in for questioning, the police learned that this man was 24-year-old Kyota Hattori, who grew up just outside of the city. He had been in Tokyo since September after traveling through other cities. Growing up, Kyota was a normal kid who was into normal teenage stuff like anime and manga. His parents divorced when he was younger, but that didn't really seem like a huge issue for him. He lived with his mother and his sister and had a very normal upbringing. And he was described to be someone who didn't really get into trouble as a kid. He did all right in school, but didn't really have a lot of friends and would usually just keep to himself. As an adult, he worked as a sales representative at a mobile phone company and was described to be very hardworking and was extremely polite to his colleagues. He also had a long term girlfriend whom he loved very much and wanted a future with. So, what went wrong? Earlier that year, Hattori was suddenly let go from his job, and while this was extremely hard for him already, His world came crashing down when his girlfriend of 4 years abruptly broke up with him only to get married to another man 6 months after. That caused for his mental health to deteriorate, and aside from the frustration from both his personal and professional life being in shambles, Kyota Hattori also fell into a deep depression. He then decided to leave for a while and explore a little. However, when he settled into a hotel in Tokyo, he found himself binge drinking and drowning in suicide thoughts. He explained to the authorities that he had actually attempted to take his own life twice but failed. So he thought that it would be easier if he killed at least two people, get arrested, and hopefully get maximum punishment and be sentenced to death. However, this too would become unsuccessful because he didn't really kill anyone. The older man that he stabbed on the chest miraculously survived, while the other passengers only attained minor injuries. Now, he then told the police that he actually thought about carrying out this plan in the streets of Shibuya. But after realizing that his plans won't work with this many people, he decided to board the train at the Keio railway station heading to Shinjuku instead. He also thought that this was a much better plan since people would not be able to run away, and that he specifically chose this route, or this train in particular, because he knew that it was the one with the least number of stops. However, his plan still failed because the operator was able to make an emergency stop. And he even continued on to saying how much he adored and idolized the Joker and how much he wanted to be just like him. So before he was even put to trial, 24-year-old Kyota Hattori was made to undergo 3 months of extensive psychological evaluation and testing to determine if he was of sound mind. And he was. He was found to be competent and aware of his actions and could be held responsible and accountable for his actions. They also figured out that his crime was not done impulsively but instead has been premeditated and planned out for months. In 2023, Kyota Hattori was found guilty and charged with multiple counts of attempted. Was sentenced to 23 years in prison and would be able to get out when he's already in his late 40s. And that is pretty much all the information that I have for you guys for today's case. I hope you guys found that interesting. I will be linking the Spooktober playlist down below if you haven't watched the other videos. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys on my next video.